Okay.
And I'm going to mute until at least,
Okay. We're live.
Until, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
because there's a couple people behind me.
Okay. All right. I'm going to do our little ad. Hey, everybody. You're not going to believe it. We had a giant storm at 1 minute. Uh-oh. If something happens, I'm going to ask Jackie to just pop in. We have just a storm going on here, and I just saw the lights flicker again. But as long as she stays as part of the stream, it won't go out, and I can come back in. So, Jackie, if you don't mind holding down the fort, Jackie has
Gotcha.
some. Okay, good. Thank you. Thankfully, she was there, so I didn't have to go restart everything and change all our links and all that stuff. So anyway, let me come over here. Is anybody else having a storm? Yes, Amy, a crazy one. That's what they said. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Hi, Amy. Long time no see. I just saw Amy down in the store. Yes, you guys are the first. Hi, Liz. Let's see who all is here. Realeather, there's Jackie. All right, she's waiting. She has a cool, oh, I'm sorry about your uncle, your husband's uncle, Liz. Oh. Hey, Karen Gartland. Hey, Avril, Charlotta, Brenda. How are you guys doing? Diane, Glum. There's Glum. Hello, Buttercups. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Sharon. Yeah, I mean, that was nuts. Hi, Laura Lee. Yes, I am at home. That is a good thing. Hey, Isabel. All right, I think we have everybody here. A hot day in the UK. Yeah, it was hot here too. Ugh. But anyway, wow, that was something. Nothing like that to get your heart going. All right, well, let's keep going here. Hey, Lydia, no storms out in California. Sounds like it's nice and sunny there. Hi, Bonnie. Just went through Connecticut. All right, thunder, lightning, high winds, and torrential downpours. I'm not sure what happened. I was down here trying to get ready for our live. So anyway, hopefully we're not going to get disconnected, but if we do, we got a plan. Hi, Brenda from South Carolina. So, Jackie, do you want to pop on just for a minute? Let's say hello. So Jackie is working on a project. We're doing our Realeather monthly live. And tell us what you have there, Jackie.
So I am working on a different color of one of our kits that we came out with this year. This is our Field Notes and Passport cover. So it will fit your passport. So if you have the travel bug, definitely a great spot to keep it in. If you don't, but you're like me and need a piece of paper everywhere you go, also really good for that.
Notebook.
So I am doing it out of one of our other leathers in a midnight blue, which you can kind of see, kind of not. It's really dark.
Yeah, I'm seeing it kind of there.
Yeah, but it is really pretty.
Oh, that is pretty. I just saw the edge of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So I am stitching that up with dark blue with white as the accent thread. And when I went to pull something tight, the whole stitching fell apart. So, yay.
No. Okay.
It happens.
Those days.
It's one of them days. So, I am working on that while Eileen's doing her thing.
Okay.
And in the event that weather happens, we can always talk about the parts of a leather hide.
I was thinking that. And if we don't, we'll get to it by the end of the show because it's
Oh,
interesting.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So
Very
I am
good.
here, and you guys know that I am paying attention to the chat anyway. So if you have leather questions,
Yeah.
I'll answer them
She's
and
there.
all that fun stuff.
All
So.
right. That sounds good. All right. Hey, Andrea, Christy. Somebody else came in, but I can't find. All right. So let me just show you what we're going to do today because this was a really fun one, I think. It's a little recipe journal, but really it could be anything. And when we turn the camera down, hopefully you can see the embossing because it's silverware. And I thought, oh, isn't that a perfect one? However, when I do my project today, hey, Leslie, how are you? I think I'm going to do a different design because I already have this one, but I want to show you how it works with recipe cards. Okay. So we have that on the agenda. We're going to die cut it. We're going to be using this die. It's called the Card Caddy. Some of you may have it. If you don't have it, I have it in my Etsy shop. The leather that I'm using is a 12 by 12 piece, and I would say this is like a pretty good weight of leather for the project that we're doing. It's pretty sturdy, maybe a 3 ounce, 2 to 3 ounce leather. So we're going to cut this in half because we don't need the whole thing. And I honestly was running around to the last minute, so we may be, switching out a couple things here. I did cut some of the pages, but an hour to do a book is really not that much time anyway. So I did do a little bit ahead of time, but we're going to do most of it right here. We're also going to be using these Realeather script stamps, and I'll show you how to do that. It's really fun. I didn't find the die that I cut my label out of, but we can just use a piece of excess, scrap leather that we'll have. And the other thing that I'm using is the lacing, and I use that for the closure. Okay, very, very simple closure. And I also use the hole punch to punch the holes to put the, lacing underneath and tie. Okay, so this is not a complicated project. It's very easy. I did stitch the pages in, and I like it because I also I ran my cording underneath so that I don't lose my closure. Hey, Teresita. And then I used some coffee dyed paper, but we on this next project, I have this nice craft. I don't know where I got this, but it's a perfect weight for pages. So yeah, I'm happy about that. And I want to show you how to cut the pages. So we have a lot to do. I don't have a lot of announcements, except that I told you guys I was going to list some handmade papers. And today I'm happy to say my little 6-year-old grandson Trevor was over, and he helped me assemble them and get them in the the bag. So I will be listing them tonight. Oh, oh my God, Teresita's with Milagros and Renee. Hi guys. What kind of base do you use for the embossed leather? I use this block, and I use a brass hammer. So we'll be doing that. All the stuff comes in that little kit, so you'll see. Okay. All right. I think what I'm going to do is turn my camera down, and we can get going on this because sorry about that. I may go over a little bit, but I just want to have it done all in one video. So let's see here. I have to put my camera back in because that went out.
Because weather.
Yes, weather. Okay, here we go. All right, and let me turn on the, wait, where is it? Add to stage. Okay. Geez, and you got a nice shot of my chest there. Sorry about that. All right, let me get my light on. Oh, that kind of washed out the color. I think this is a really pretty color. Can you guys see that okay? Because it's nice.
That looks like our terracotta, I think.
Yeah, it might be. Wait a minute. I don't have name on it. You know, there's no name here.
Well,
But I
luckily,
think
my swatch books are sitting next to me. Hold,
oh,
please.
how handy. All right. So this is the die we're going to use. Cord caddy. All right, Jackie's going to do name that leather.
It is our terracotta.
Oh, she is
So,
good, that girl. Okay.
so that one does take embossing very, very nicely.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that I got the same one because if you see, yeah, they're the same. Yeah. And I did like it. This is a very detailed one. I think the one I'm going to do today, it's called tablecloth, and it's a little more defined, this pattern. So just, I mean, a tablecloth you would use with recipes too. So this is like an old crocheted tablecloth. Yes, he is a very sweet grandson. Gave you the tiny hand. You did the oath. Okay, you're official. All right, guys, we haven't had the tiny hand lately, but here he is, and he is going to help. I'm going to put it right there. I am glad you're all set with that, Teresita, although I always knew. Jackie, I need to send you a tiny hand.
Yes.
David has one because I saw him at the trade show.
Well, if it's in his briefcase, it may not go back home with him.
Yeah, that's, yeah. He had it attached. I thought it was very clever. He attached it to his name badge.
That's nice.
It was very,
yeah, that would
touch. I know. Okay. So, and a lot of people may have the tiny hand from our last release when they got it in their kit, their set that they, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how I want to cut this. I'm going to use this is what I do sometimes. I'm using my acrylic plate because it's just about the right depth or the width of the design. And then what I do is I just take I'm going to move it over a little bit because it's only 5 inches and not 6. And I want to keep anything extra. And I'm just going to score down here and then I can see how to cut. Can you guys see that? And
yeah. If you flip the leather over, sometimes those lines will show through better on the back.
They do.
Than they will on the front.
All right, and let me try it with the light. Maybe it can focus. Well, I guess the important thing is I can see it. It's kind of shiny. Now, these are not my normal leather scissors. I could use my blade, but I know that makes people nervous. And you don't have to be exactly perfect with this because we're going to be cutting it perfectly with the die cut machine. We just want to get off the, basic shape. Okay. So here is our leather. And I did, when I looked at it, sometimes there are little imperfections or, little marks. And that might have been me. I might have gotten some water on it or whatever.
Or it could have been the cow.
It could have been the cow. Maybe that was a fly that bit him or mosquito bite. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes, when you're working with a product that is part of an animal, you're going to, have to work with it a little. Okay, so here is the die. And let me get this here. So you can see, all we did was just cut it out of leather. So, and here it is with the index card. So you can see if you use index cards for your recipes, it fits in here just really nicely, so you could tape that in or even if you have some of my index cards are folded over because it's a bigger recipe, but you could just, do the back and then you could open it up. Anyway, that was my thought on the recipe book. So I am going to take my leather. I'm going to turn it so that the right side is facing the die. You really could do it either way. If you want to not have these little scored lines here on this side so you can see it, you could leave it like this, and then the scored lines are going to be on the other side. But I don't mind that because I feel like it helps the leather to know where to go. So I'm just going to lay that on here. No, I'm not going to cut this. This is what helps to make the box, and we're not going to make a box. We're making it. All right, and I need a long cutting pad. So here we go. Now see, I didn't line this up right, so doing that. Here's my big shot. Lay this in here. How are you guys doing today? Ay, ay, ay. No blade for the moment. See, Leslie is relieved. Scissors are a little safer, but you know, I like to live on the edge. All right, so there is our cover. Look at that in one shot. There's our cover. Now, if you have a little spot like this, just take your scissors and, you know, snip it off. All right. Now, the other thing is about this leather, and when you emboss it, if it does have a little flaw, you really don't have to worry about it, because when we emboss over it, it's, you know, gonna take on the shape of the embossing folder, and you're really not going to notice it that much if there is anything a little different. Okay, now I will say the last time I did this was a while ago when I made this book. So you may have to fiddle a little bit with your platform, and just, you know, the key to it is, you know, that if it goes through, then your plates are pretty good. If not, you may have to. You may. Oh, good.
Yeah, no, you're good for now.
All right, I thought I went again. Wait, let's
Not
get
yet.
this is my, I should cross his fingers and, you know. All right, so here's my embossing folder, and I am going to spritz this with some water. Somebody saying something funny. Hi, Becky Ann and Isabel. I love the paper inserts in your sample. Those were coffee dyed, actually. All right, let's give this a spray, and then I'm gonna wipe that off. I don't like having water on here, but I am gonna flip it over and let that kind of go on my back too, because I feel like that kind of levels out the any embossing that I will do. And let's see, do I have a paper towel? I don't think I do. All right, well, we'll just have to. Really threw me off, guys. Hang on. Oh, I've got a little thing here. Old t-shirt. These are the best things to have. Okay. So I'm going to take that. Now, if you look at your folder, if you have a bigger one, this still might be a little large, even for the larger folders. So I'm going to take this here. Now, the thing that I know is that I might need to get my Big Shot Plus in here, because this is not going to go. I could do it that direction on my Plus, but I'm going to have this stuff hanging here. Now, you maybe could tuck it under, but it's really thick. So what I'm going to do is get my Big Shot Plus over here. If you don't have the Plus, you're just going to have to maneuver it around a little bit. Well,
so to answer Laura Lee, yes, she was spraying it with water. That just helps open up the fibers of the leather so it will take the embossing dye. To answer Lydia's question, when you're done with your project, if you want to use a leather conditioner on it, you can. I would probably recommend waiting a day or two just so that the embossing really takes and it sets up correctly. And then, sure, go ahead and condition your leather. But there's no real need, dependent upon the leather that you use to make your project.
All right, thank you. Okay, now I have my Big Shot Plus that I brought over, and I do like having this just for situations like that. I'm going to tuck it up in here, and I am going to pull that through. All right, poor Jackie. She's helping out.
Yeah.
And it's got a, oh, wait a minute. No, that feels not right. Okay, so that is too much. So now I'm going to start playing around. I have some shims over here. Let me get them. This is like a plastic shim. This is a thicker one. Let's just see what we can. Now, see, I'm doing it, but I don't really feel a lot of resistance there. So let me see what else I have. I have a piece of matboard. I was making a beach umbrella. So
Nice.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do here. So this is what I mean about don't be afraid to play around to get the effect that you want. Now this might be too much. No, that feels just perfect. All right, let's see what we have here. Oh yeah, look at that, guys. It's perfect.
Ooh, that's nice.
That is very nice. All right, now I could do the back, and I think I will, just because now we have it down. So it's already wet. And I'm going to, and I should have said, this is, if you want an emboss, you're going to put it on the smaller part of the folder. You can see this one goes bigger. So this side is where you get the emboss.
Laura Lee, you're probably going to want to look at using luster wax for a shimmer to embossed leather. Just because that would be light enough and you can always add. Your other option could be to take either gold or silver metallic, like acrylic paint, and water it down pretty good, and then go over your leather. Just kind of depends on what you have available to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Look at that. Okay. We've got our cover. All right. I think I'm done with my plus die. All right. So now we've got our cover. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to cut pages. All right. So I would just look at this and see which one you like better. Hey, Lenine. Oh, good. Tell your dad we all send our love. Okay. Oh, thanks, Glum. All right. So now let's look at this because there are a couple ways we can go now. But I think I would wind up stitching them in, especially if I was going to do like a recipe book or something. You know, that's something that you would want to stay together. If I was doing like a little journal or something, I may do elastic. So I'm still going to punch my holes with the leather punch. And what I might do on this one is just do the two. I think I'm just going to stitch them in like that. So I am going to take a marker. I'm just going to get a ruler. And I love my little centering ruler from Pear Blossom Press because you can get a nice straight edge here. And I'm going to go try to center it a half an inch. Wait, that's not quite. Well, it doesn't matter, but there. Half an inch. I should have done this before. Oops, that one's a little high, but I can get around that. Okay. And the size is 2.5 is the one that I use because I like to have a little leeway so I don't have to get with very skinny string. I can use a thicker cord if I want, and I'm just going to punch. I have these in my Etsy store, guys. These are great. They're so good for leather. I like my crocodile. I've tried my crocodile on this, but it leaves ragged edges, and I don't like it. But look at these. They're perfect. So this is what I like for my leather. And I'm just centering them in between, you know, my little score lines there. Okay, those are pretty good. We just kind of eyeball. So let's do that again down here. I got my pen. Okay. And just going to put this here and then hopefully, I mean, if they're not perfect, don't tell on me.
I know nothing.
All right, that's good. I like it. All right, and then just check. Now that's a little high, so I'm going to do the bottom part of that one. I'm watching Downton Abbey again, and it is just so good. So good.
Oh, yes.
Have you seen that? Yeah.
Downton Abbey's the best.
Yeah.
So the punch has enough of like a leeway. It's probably about 2.5 inches or so. But if you feel adventurous, you can take that silver arm thingy off.
Oh, this
you could. I don't recommend it. It makes it a little more difficult to operate, but you could.
You would get a lot more room though. You could get some, but
and your other option, if you were trying to poke holes farther into your journal, if you wanted to stitch it closer, what you could do is take a round punch and just whack it.
Yeah, with the thing. Yeah, I get it. I took my ball or, you know, pokey tool. Look at this. It's coming through. I need to get rid of that. But, and I just did that with it and had like a piece of foam, the thick foam underneath, and just put it in. So,
yeah.
And it worked fine. Okay. So we've got our holes punched. All right, now let me show you how I did the pages. All right, I actually need some more, so I was testing out how many I needed. So this is that nice craft paper that I have, and let me see if this is the right way. I think it is. So all I do is I take each piece and I fold them into quarters, with the bigger fold being here, because we're going to lay that down on the die. And I tried doing three batches of these, but this paper is just too thick, so it didn't work with 3. So I would say stack 2. And they'll be fine. And roll over it twice. Okay, this is 2, so I'm going to take these apart. And I think they come out better if you stack them on top of each other instead of inside. Although, I don't know, maybe that is better if you don't want that fanning thing going on. You know what I mean? So when you have a bunch of them, you know, they do come out because they're all, you know, the same size, but then you get the bulk here in there. So, you know, however you want to do it. But let's cut a couple more. And I'll show you how it works. And this is a really easy way. And what I like is that you can use the whole bit of the 12 by 12 paper. It's like there is not much left to spare. So that's good. You don't have a bunch of excess paper. Although those are nice to make little ephemera books or, you know, little kind of leftover things. But okay. So let's get our die again. All right, so here it is. And what I'm going to do is take my pages 2 at a time. I'm going to stack them up so that the big fold is here. And then I'm going to make sure that my edges cover this end here, because that curve is really nice. And then I'm just going to lay it on the die and make sure this is straight here, and make sure that either end is covered, because you only have about 1/4 inch there. And I would use the shorter plate and cover it, just because it's easier to kind of pack that down. And then you're going to get 2 nice little signature pages. Well, actually 4. Well, no, wait a minute. Actually, maybe more than that. Hang on. We did 2 sets, maybe 8. Well, it depends on what you call it, signature, but let's just look at it. See, it cut them nicely. When I did the extra set, it just, so here we have 4 double page folds. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's all ready to go. So I'm just going to do a couple more, and then we will put them in the book. All right. Now this one is a little wonky, so just don't want to. Oh. Wait a minute. I think I shifted it. I did. I'm glad I checked that. You could take a little piece of like masking tape or the, green tape or purple tape or whatever you have, washi tape, and just tape that down so it doesn't shift, but just be careful about that. You haven't left enough leftovers, like using the whole piece of paper. Yeah, I like that too. I know. I don't want scraps because what a pain. You got to store them somewhere. Oh, you know what? Wow. I did do, and it worked. All right. I did do 3. I must have counted wrong. All right. Well, that's fine. So it does work, but I don't recommend it because I don't like trimming them. It just, in the long run, it just takes less time to, because, yeah, that was 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, all right. Well, all right. That's fine. All right. One more. Let's just do it. And see how this is off a little? So it's probably as good to fold it pretty well. If you have some that are a little shorter, that's okay, because you can just put them inside, and then you're not going to have that fanning thing again. All right, this should be good. Yeah. Okay. All right, I do love having all the use of the die to make all the parts.
Yes.
Right. Let's see what we have here. That one is a little one, so I'm going to put that in the middle. And I didn't count these or anything, so who knows? But that looks pretty good. You think? Is that about even?
I think so.
It's
close.
Yeah, close enough. All right, so let's lay this in here. Now we have 3 sets of holes, so that's interesting. What we could do is put one here. Well, we could divide them into 3 sets of pages, which, you know what, that probably does make sense, because if we're going to add index cards to each of these, that's going to make it bulkier. Let's count these. 1, 2, 5.
You're not wrong, Lenine. It's a handmade book. It doesn't matter if they're all the same.
Yes, that's true. That is true. All right, let's see. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, now, so we do have a hole for each one. So now the thing is, these are going to be the exact height, because remember, we use the die to cut the book and we use the die to cut the pages. So just be aware of that when you're putting them in, to kind of set them on the table and make sure that they're lined up right. But the next thing that I usually do is I take a piece of paper or something, and actually we could use our leather right here as a guide. So let me get my thing that I usually use, and I'm going to do one, but I may not be able to finish this whole thing. What time is it? 1/4 of. Well, we'll do our best. So I'm going to use this as a guide, because I think it would be fun for you to tell us, Jackie, about that.
Yeah.
your little thing to help with the. All right, so I'm trying to line this up in the center. I think that looks good. What I can do is just make a mark with my pencil and make sure that I don't want to poke it on the side because then it gets a little kooky.
Well, welcome on in from Texas.
Hello, Jamie. All right, yeah, that was actually pretty good, but we want to make sure these are going straight. All right, that's fine. So I'm just going to take my pokey tool again, give these another little, stacking movement too. And if you wanted, you could also take your binder clips or whatever you have to make sure these don't shift while you're poking. And then you would poke through and give it a little wiggle so you have a little more room. Okay. Now you know that's going to work because you measured it with your book. So the next thing that you would do is, hang on, let me get my stuff. Sorry about that. Okay.
Laura, it's all good. You're here now. That's the fun part.
Hey, Laura. Oh, believe me, we were late starting because we had a big storm and everything just turned off and I had to go start my internet up again.
Well,
What a pain. Yes.
Eileen had a storm.
I had a storm. Jackie manned the fort, thankfully. All right, this is some waxed linen that I have that my main complaint about this is you can never find the end of it. Drives you crazy, but there it is. All right, so
that's when I cut a notch in the end of the tube.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Pop it in there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. All right, let me get my Don't worry, guys. I'm not gonna. Hopefully.
There you go. Yeah, just enough to.
Yeah, keep it.
Wedge it in there.
It works. Yeah.
That's what we do with our waxed thread.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. All right. So, something solved. I love a good problem solving. All right, here is a needle. You need something with a big eye, and what I do is I take the thing and squish it in between my fingernail and hope that it goes in there, and it did. Okay, so now I'm just gonna stitch this in, and I would do this with all of them, but I still want to show you how to do the stamping. So I think we'll just leave it at this, and I can stitch these in later, but leave enough so that you can tie it, and then just bring it around here and through. And it's a little more stable if you do the middle row, but just so you get the idea of how these go in, you guys can figure that out. Yes, what gauge? I think, Bonnie, this is a 4 millimeter. I'm honestly, I don't know. I don't even know about that stuff.
If
you think it is, Jackie?
It is probably, because that looks close to be what I'm probably working with.
Yeah.
And what I am working with is a 4 filament thread, and it is about. Where's my ruler? There's my ruler, because I am at my desk, because I'm smart.
Oh wait, you need here. Let's put you in there. You can.
1, 2, 3. It's about a 3.5 millimeter thread that I'm working with, which is probably close to what Eileen's working with.
Yeah, yep, I bet it is. So there you go.
My wax thread loves to splay itself.
Yes, mine does that too. So I always cut too much, but that's okay. All right. Anything? How is your passport book going?
Oh, it is coming along.
Yeah.
Had to fix some things because, me and sewing. But,
Oh,
um,
pretty. Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
So, the deal is you sew everything around once and then you go back the other way and fill in all the little gaps
Okay.
because
Yep.
that's very typical of leather crafting, is you always go back and cover the
Yeah.
holes
Yeah.
of where you stitched. Um, so it is plugging away,
All right. Now, what are we
and
gonna did we decide about the giveaway? Because we were talking about it right when the lights went out.
when the rains came. So
Yes.
I'm
Month
I
one.
will actually do an either or.
Okay.
So it's gonna be one of those that'll be winner's choice. And whether
Okay.
Eileen picks the winner or I do, we haven't figured that part out because
Yeah.
rain.
Somebody.
So,
Yes.
but option one will be you get this one that I am sewing.
Wow.
I will send this to you. You don't have to do it. You don't have to stitch it yourself.
Nice.
Um, it is in a leather that is not the one that's in the kit. In the kit, it's brown. I'm doing it in blue. So that is one option.
All
The
right.
other option is if you don't want the one that I am putting together right now, then I will send you the lowercase script alphabet set.
Oh. Oh, that's nice. All right. So they can
So,
pick? Yeah,
yep.
that's good. Okay.
And
And
and whichever this month's winner doesn't pick is going to be next month.
oh, okay. All right. Very good. Now, what do they have to do so you know that they want to have it?
Um, I would, let's see,
All
because
right.
I really do want to help you all with your leather education and things like that. Because it's great that we're making stuff with it, but I'm sure you have 27 million questions.
Yes.
So post your questions, whether they're on Eileen's main
That's
page
good. That's great. Okay.
or
Here's
in the fan club,
okay.
and just tag Real Leather. Or
Yeah.
if you figured out that I am personally in the fan club too, you can tag my personal page, and I will collect those, and we'll give you all a week ish,
Okay.
and you know, from there, not really best question wins, but most interesting,
Yeah.
especially if there's a theme. We'll go from there, and I'll put all your names on a spinner and do it that way.
All right.
Lowercase alphabet set. Hold, please.
I have one actually right here because that's what I use. But why don't you show me
I
what
have
you
one right above my desk as I have
right?
leathercraft falling.
What?
So the this one has been used and abused, but um they are, and all
Yeah.
of our alphabet sets are like this. They all come with a stamping handle,
Yep.
and of course I opened it upside down because why wouldn't I? So the lowercase set also has the numbers. So like that's
Yes.
the number one. But I'm hoping that if I do some creative light filtering, there we go.
Yeah. Very good.
So
Yep. Okay. Thank you. All right. I
you're
have
welcome.
mine too. All right. Let me go over here because I was just about to do the same thing. So I love that we all have a standard tool, you know? All
Uh-huh.
right. So I think what I'm going to do is just cut off a strip. And because I don't have this label shape right handy, and you know what? I might want to do just the date, and make it a journal instead of recipes. You can spell out anything you want. You could put somebody's name, it doesn't have to be. So I am going to cut a little strip of leather. And actually, I'm going to use my, I like to use this. So I'm going to line it up on my mat here. And I think we'll go for like 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm just going to do this. Now, some people like to use the rotary cutter. Do you use that, Jackie?
I do, depending on how long of a piece I'm cutting.
Yeah.
If I am cutting something that is more than 12 inches, I will
Yeah.
probably use the rotary cutter because
Yeah.
I can push and maintain the pressure. If I'm
Yeah.
doing something short, I'm using a box cutter, my
Yeah.
car keys, my scissors, whatever I happen to have closest to me.
Okay. I just wondered. Okay. All right. We got our little handy helper. All right. So we have just a nice little strip of leather here. And what I like to do is say we do 2025. All right. So here's the 2, 5, and 0. So I like to kind of start in the middle. So I want to leave a little bit on the end. So in case I make a mistake or something, I can do that. I'm gonna, so 2025. So there's 4. So if I had 5, I would start with the middle letter or number or whatever. So this probably doesn't matter because it's not that long. Here's the little gripper thing. So I might just go ahead. Now the only thing too that you might want to do is if you care about this. Now, when I did the recipe one, I don't know how I did it, but it's pretty well, I made the P go up because it's very hard to keep it straight. You can run a piece of masking tape here if you want to, go for that, but I kind of stagger it on purpose just cuz it's handmade and I don't want to stress about it. So here's our 2. So when you look at it, you want to make sure it's not upside down because I've done that too.
So
And
if you actually look at so if you
oh,
look
it's right
down
here.
on that stamp,
Oh, look at that. How clever. All right.
yeah.
Smart. All right. So I'm just going to kind of center this on my leather, try to make it go the right way. But the other thing is, it is italic. So,
Yep.
all right.
We do have 3, 4, 3 or 4, because I forget, other stamping sets.
Okay.
A couple of them are one of them is a serif font, so think Times New Roman. One of
Okay.
them is what we call fancy, which is
Ooh,
not all the way to script, but it's not your normal block letters either.
okay.
And then we have one that's kind of like, Arial, sort of.
Yes. Okay. I kind of like those because I like it readable. All right.
Those are easier to line up too.
Yeah, they are. All right. Now, I am not happy with, oh, shoot. I can't see it again, but I know my mouse is here and I'm just playing with it. Okay, so I did not do that deep enough. Can you see? It's you can see it, but it's just not quite the depth that I would like, even though these are not really that deep.
No.
But the good thing is you can kind of feel around and line it back up if you feel like you didn't. I just don't want to. Oh,
Yeah.
my it catapulted my.
The other thing you can also do if you feel like, oh crap, I need to erase,
Yeah.
turn your leather over,
Oh.
take the stamp handle, run it over where you just poked the
Oh.
thingy.
Over here.
That'll help stand it back up.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah. It, um, and the other thing is don't be afraid to whack it.
Yeah, that's what I was not doing. Oh, yeah, this is really good because you can see where the letter's supposed to go in the
Yes.
and then you just kinda wanna leave them the same amount of distance, but, if
Yep.
you don't worry about it.
The other thing that I do when I'm stamping words or dates or anything really, especially if I have to repeat a letter or a number,
Yeah.
what I will do is grab a letter or a number that I'm not using,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I line all of mine up, and I just move the handle.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Oh,
'Cause
boy.
then it's close-ish.
Right. Oh, this is coming out pretty good, actually. Who knew?
Yep. The
See,
three
that's
eight the 3/8 alphabet set is probably our most popular one.
yeah,
Um, that's the one most
that
if
Laura had.
people have a alphabet stamp set from us, most people have that one.
I think I have that too. Look at
I
that.
think you do.
Hey, nice job. I'm patting myself on the back. Does that
Yeah,
stand
buddy.
the alphabet? No, this does not. This is something I had before. It is so heavy. It's really handy to have it because like if I say I'm making a box and I want to I glue my corners on, my tabs, I will set this and also some other alphabets that I have in my project and it really holds it down. So yeah. And this is another brass hammer too. You can probably use anything,
Oh,
honestly.
yeah. Yep, a mini mall, you can use the power punch as a hammer and whack it.
Yeah.
Um, and anything, if you don't have a stamping block at home, use a 2 by 4.
Oh,
Um, you know, just be careful with what you use because,
yes.
after a while, things can crack, but,
Yeah.
um you don't need to go out of your way to buy a special stamping block
Yeah.
when, you might have a chunk of wood laying around or
Yeah. Or
yeah.
something. Oh,
Mhm.
actually, I use this sometimes. It's just like a yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A
Yeah,
thing.
old cutting board, those work too.
Yep. All right. Now I lined this up because I'm a pain. I can never get it right, but I'm just holding on here so it doesn't shift. And then I'm going to leave about the same distance at the end here. So I can still put a
Have a wonderful evening, Glum.
oh, bye, Glum. I know. I'm sorry I went late. We had a little,
It happens.
yeah.
Silly weather.
What are we going to do? Okay, so there we go. So then I would just take my punch and, you could round the corners if you wanted or, use a label that you have. But I mean, that's a nice little um, closure, actually. So I'm going to use this same size hole punch and just center that. Do another one here. I mean, it just looks so professional. All right, so look at that. So then we would just take our cording and, you can match it to the project or you could have a contrasting one. I kind of feel like any of these would work. The black would be kind of nice. So maybe let's do that. So all I did was I ran it in the back and then wrapped it around the book, which is not done, but it's pretty close. Oops. So we have one that's stitched in, but you can imagine, so you just kind of pop it up a little bit and then wrap this around. And then I just did a knot and square knot. And I also did run this under my threads here so that, like I said, it keeps it on there so you don't lose it. You don't lose that because sometimes I do that. I have lost closures. So anyway, guys, that is how you make this little book. So even with the rain, we did figure out how to make this fun little recipe book, art journal, whatever you want to put in here. You could make just one hole and put a chain on it on the spine. Yeah, that would be a nice little dangle there, you know? Oh, you mean on here? Yes, you could do that. Oh, that's a good idea. All right. It's got this bump here is the thing. The other thing I thought about doing was you could do the button stud and then just maybe attach these two together so it closes.
Yeah.
I don't know though. You've got your page here, so you'd have to fiddle around with it. But it's whatever you want to do and whatever you want to put in here, you can do it. Get these basic tools, and life is good. Look at that. That's for like a graduate. Wouldn't that be a fun thing to give? They could
Oh,
put
yeah.
all the graduation memories or photos in here. If they had one of those little Instax cameras, or I don't know, whatever they want. This is nice paper. I like how it goes with the brown of the cover, the terracotta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway,
It
yeah,
coordinates nicely.
it does. All right. So, and this store's really nice, and it's just a good. I do like this.
Yep.
It works good.
On the script sets, we do have the letter with what it's supposed to be. On some of our older sets, we only have a dot that tells you which way to stamp the
Where
thing,
to position it?
but
Yeah.
those ones have what the letter or the number is.
Yep. This has. I can't see it. I am blind.
That's.
But I know that it goes. Which one is
Yeah,
this?
that is probably the.
Or
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
So it all fits in there, nice and easy to store and easy to use. Okay. All right. Anything else? So if you have any questions about leather or these products or anything about how we did this, how Jackie does her little passport book field notes.
Yes, how I do my side projects when it's like, Eileen, what are we doing? Oh, we're doing that? Okay, what can I do that's close?
Okay. I love it. Oh, Jackie, do you want to quick do the little hard thing? Yeah, let me put you over to that.
Sure. Let me finish this stitch so that I don't lose my spot later, because the tongue on this thing is lovely. Yeah. Come on, Mr. Needle, go through the hole.
Where's the best place to buy all the Realeather products?
So we have a couple different options for you. If you have a local Hobby Lobby, we are in there. Just look for anything with that logo. That is us. Okay. We're also on Amazon. If you have a local craft retailer and you're like, so some of you who are in the UK, things like that, if you know the people who run your local craft store and you know they purchase from fair.com, that local store can purchase from us on fair.com, and we will ship internationally through there as well. So, and it with probably by the end of the year, you should be able to purchase from us directly. So if there's something that we use and Eileen runs out in her store, you should be able to purchase from us here by the end of 2025. Okay. And to answer whoever asked, what do you have to do for the giveaway? Just come up with your either leather crafting questions or how does it get from animal to the craft store? Anything along those lines, or product questions or that kind of thing. And just tag Realeather or myself either in the fan club or on Eileen's main page. And I'll put all your names on a randomizer and spin to win. And it'll be an either or, so whoever's name that lands on, you will have the choice between the lowercase script set or the passport journal passport cover field notes thing that I've been putting together. And whichever one isn't chosen this month is next month.
All right.
And yeah. And I'm just going to tease y'all with this. This is our trusty little hide cutout.
Okay.
Most hides look like this. This is all you get today. Next
Okay.
month, I'll tell you what it all means.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Jackie.
You are
Thanks for
most
being there.
welcome.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging in there despite all the technical stuff. And I hope that I will see you tomorrow. We're doing the craft showdown at 9 p.m. And I have a link up. So if you want to know where to go, it will be there. Okay. So it's going to be funny. I can pretty much know that. I got a special t-shirt today. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, have a great weekend, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night. And wait, where's Jackie? Let me, we don't need that one. Okay, yeah. All right, so we'll see you next month. I think the date is the, let me see, 17th maybe?
Yes.
July 17th. Oh, yeah. And I think we're going to do a dog collar. So for those of you who have dogs, you can make it your own collar for them. How's that for fun? Personalize it. Wouldn't that be a nice Christmas gift to give to your friends that have dogs?
Or your own dog.
Or their own dog, or yeah, but I'm always thinking like, if I'm going to buy the supplies, then I want to crank out 10 of them, you know, and give them to all the people that it applies to. So, all right. You are celebrating midsummer here in Sweden. Well, have fun, Charlotta. Okay. All right. See you guys. And thanks again, Jackie and Realeather.
Yes.
And we will see you soon. Okay. All right. Bye.